It is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
Let's get some food in us and then we'll... Whoa! Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages! And now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Where have you been anyway? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname! Never mind. Paimon's got nothing. There's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy. It makes it so hard.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So clearly, I stayed in the village. Anyway, you plan to leave Aaru village and keep searching for the truth of this matter, yeah?
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here, so we thought that we might as well take the search elsewhere. Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with him.
Alhaitham, you haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aaru village. Bold of you to
Yeah, you're all talk!
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now finished.
Really? Paimon doesn't believe you.
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation to inform you of my whereabouts. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right here in the village?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But before that, you need to understand where she's coming from.
What does that mean?
How do you think the residents of Aaru village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the villagers tell us?
You mean some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Again, these people have their reasons. Remember what Gandis said? Most people in Aaru village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether the Scarlet King or the Dendro Archon has power is of little significance to them. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believed there was no further information to be found in this village. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you were... The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce unpredictability into the equation.
Those eyes, those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Cyno's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the mad scholars.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are Scarlet King fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals next.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aaru village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then, why would she...
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this...
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of this.
We're on it!
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier, I've brought some...
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure...
Huh? What do you mean? We need to clarify...
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll get the answers you... Go on. Earn her.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler? Hi, Traveler. I want to ask you something. Do you think the resurrection of the Scarlet King can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservations. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of anyone, but even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's why we decided to stay here for a while.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back for more information.
Alhaitham told us you have your reasons. It's okay.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in the Scarlet King. I don't belong to either side.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I say or how I behave. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to live my life in peace. And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about it to anyone.
You can tell them. I'm sure he'll keep your secret.
All right. I'll tell you what I told Alhaitham. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts.
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It comes from far away in the distance. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And when it does, it's much quieter. I have to focus really hard to...
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But, because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Eleazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah, let's go!
Time to go. Time to go.
Allow me.
Wind strike. Clouds high. The birds call. The wind knows me. A fateful offering. Time to go.
Sounds good to me.
Hold the line.
It's fine. Wind strider. A fateful offering.
Ooh, is this the place? It's in terrible shape. And monsters, watch out! Let's move out. Rest and rebuild. Covenant of the Deep.
As one with wind and cloud. Wind strike.
Hold the line. Coloneva, help! Magical lamp!
Wind strike. Fallen leaves adorn my night. Wind strike.
Allow me.
Clouds high. The birds call. Wind strike.
They were easier to deal with than Paimon had super strong bandits? Or monsters He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take a look.
Hey, Alhaitham, we haven't found squat. Are you sure we aren't wasting our time here?
Patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then, I'm taking a break.
And just like that, he sits down. What are you reading? Let Paimons...
Okay, sure.
Huh? The natural position, which is the positional propensity of an entity in natural motion in contrast with an object in...
So, you got that?
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya! How is he so relaxed? Look at him, reading an impossible book in a creepy place like this. Hey, Paimon's your Teyvat travel guide. Paimon knows plenty of useful stuff up. And anyway, it's not Paimon's fault that the books people read in Sumeru are so complicated. Paimon's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
There it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
It's from below.
But there's the...
Something is off about the interior here. As I thought, there's a hidden structure.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here.
Wind Strider!
Hold the line!
As one with wind and cloud!
Just like we rehearsed!
Bird's call! Wind strike! One with nature.
Rest and rebuild! Let's approach him.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and his eyes are unfocused. But he looks too... Also, why is he the only one here?
Didn't expect to see him here.
You know him?
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the Academia.
He's a scholar too? Is he the kind that holes up in a forest and mumbles?
No. And that's the problem. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone means that we might be too late. Looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. Perhaps they simply didn't have time to come back for him. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
Loaded with people?
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry. The symptoms are identical. Looks like we found living.
Huh? What?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your time. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh, now that you mention it.
Correct. The academia is behind all of it. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale. First, the academia spread a false rumor of the Scarlet King's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled to Aaru village. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aaru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, of course, through rounding, as well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends, this scheme has one further advantage to the academia. All the risks and responsibilities are off. Life for the desert dwellers has been brutal ever since the Scarlet King's death all those years ago. Beneath the surface, feelings of desperation are widespread. Many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. Anyone looking to exploit that for their own ends simply needs to make a few empty promises. Even if complications arise, people will see that those involved are all followers of the Scarlet King, and look for no further explanation than differences of belief. The notion of an academia plot wouldn't even cross their minds. It may seem—
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's in line with the village chief's theory, too. But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the academia that brought the scholars to our—
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. The scholars First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. And finally, an exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, if you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them. That
resource?
one possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge.
Extracted? You mean, can't know?
With the technology of the Sumeru academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain... Nope, nah.
I'm the academia scribe, after all. I'm familiar with their Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his mind. But or perhaps his curiosity got the better of him, and he used such a capsule for himself.
Hyman's a little confused.
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer. That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their entire life's pursuit. Extracting canned knowledge is just one of— However, I can't help but wonder. The academia is going out of their way to look for forbidden knowledge. I've spent quite some time trying to analyze the contents of the divine knowledge capsule, but to no avail. It seems like my way of thinking—
You mean, you're not even slightly interested in getting your hand—
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge, but I'm not particularly interested in gods, so I don't share their degree of zealotry. Extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects? If this is the direction of academic progress, then the academia may as well shut its doors.
Sounds like you're really against all.
Of course. The Academia's actions run contrary to their rules. Whether it be academics or knowledge, everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules and order that govern everything in the world will be destroyed. This matter needs to be corrected. Just like—
Wait! Didn't you step in to help because you felt sympathy for those poor people?
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria are a little more restrictive than that. There is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest of Teyvat as well. What do you plan to do about that? Save every last person?
Probably not. Paimon's not sure.
You can say that. Simply put, I don't blindly place my faith into strength or heroism. I do. The Divine Knowledge Capsule is something I want to investigate in full. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take action for the sake of a few strangers.
Paimon's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad guys in the Academia, but you're not one of them. You're their weirdo.
You're probably right. Though I must say, I quite enjoy this feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset, is it not?
Wow, that's a great way to think about it. Paimon's really impressed. If o-
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. There's nothing more to it than that. He won't last long if we leave him here. Let's take him with us. We'll work out our next step after we return to Aaru.
Time to go.
We're back!
You must be tired. You should rest and take some water.
What's the situation?
Who's this?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Eleazar Hospital served as the Academia's site for extracting divine cant knowledge.
Yep, pretty much.
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aaru village, since divine cant knowledge has been in circulation for a while now. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village, almost as if they knew we were on their trail. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the Academia.
Huh? Are our friendships that shallow?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies the issue. Cyno, you're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words very carefully.
It is simply a logical inference. I have my reasons.
So what you're saying is, Cyno's the mole. Interesting. And here I thought you were the most suspicious one, Alhaitham, since you were always acting alone.
I know. You have a point, but I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Cyno isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamatra? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take action against someone, you are required to have all the facts available, including the less than savory details. Simply put, the Academia has traditionally allowed you access to a wealth of sensitive information. Knowing their modus operandi, wouldn't you expect them to take precautions against you? If you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The Academia is monitoring me?
It's not that simple. The Academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for dealing with you. Every so often comes a Nyagarbaha Day. On this day, the Academia enters new information into the Akasha through knowledge capsules. I remember seeing a thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment, everything.
You're saying that the Academia entered my information into the Akasha too? But what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't important enough to be added into the Akasha.
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destination. It knew all of this.
It predicted my every move.
The Academia has been watching you longer than you think.
So that's how it is. Cyno adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the Academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after anything they can profit from. Cyno, don't take it to heart. This just proves how much of a trustworthy ally you are.
They escaped because of me.
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounced back fast.
There is always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's how it is! Paimon gets it now! If the Academia is trying to avoid Cyno, then the safest place would be... Yep, that's right!
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys! After him!
Please, wait! I want to go too!
You want to go too? If so...
I want to find Grandpa. I promise I'll be careful and not cause any trouble.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
Yay! Let's go! Remember to pack some food with you! Paimon feels like we're missing someone, though. So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Is that because you play here a lot?
Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay. So,
These are likely fragments of an academia-developed device, something akin to a headset. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way because there are device fragments. Let's split up and search the area. Chances are that we'll find other things.
Is this what we're searching for? It looks kind of scary.
This is definitely a device used to extract divine knowledge.
How did it end up buried in the sand? That can't have... They must have been attacked along the way.
Wait, what?
Grandpa, I hope you're okay.
Don't worry, your grandpa's gonna be fine.
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration.
We should be able to catch up.
One more thing. Given that the device had been entirely covered by sand, I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
Ugh, but running on sand is so tiring.
But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too?
Ugh, of course it is.
Follow the wind. Cheer! Cheer! I follow the wind. The wind knows me. Time to go. Time to go.
Voices, over there. Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never lie.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do. Need me to...
I knew it. That's our deal.
Dia? Why would you? Dia!
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa?
Well, look who's here. Ain't that something?
This complicates things.
You've betrayed Aaru village?
So, this is the great General Mahamatra. Dear, you'd be better off as my assistant than hanging around with this motley crew. Seen for yourself. I have the means and methods, and my ideals are far more
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know that.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing could deter us from the grand mission of resurrecting the Scarlet King. Once our Lord of Old returns.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of the Scarlet King. Whether I live by the edge of the sword or in peaceful comfort,
It's not too late yet. The village Mad scholars aren't gonna bring the Scarlet...
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life.
Even if it'll expose you to the academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard for...
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon know with these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Academia's forces and...
Ridiculous. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the Academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the Academia to me. Why would I listen to anything the people of Greater Lord Rukadava... Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned all honor and betrayed the...
It's impossible to communicate with someone so... Perhaps we should.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips, but I could be persuaded to take their places. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places?
Precisely. Any wise person
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars. Perhaps even find out the truth.
Think you can talk me over with that
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining
You are the scribe. What do you have against the Academia?
Not all desert dwellers believe in the Scarlet King, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the Academia?
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall.
Not so fast. Alhaitham, do you stand by everything you just said? You know you're making a dangerous decision, right?
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me?
We've known each other for years.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right... Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia...
An arm from the Flame Mane. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring...
Let's do it right here, then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not...
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman, I'm holding up my end of the deal here.
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it!
Dia! Run!
Stop!
What's wrong? Can't do it?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off your arm is no different than cutting off my... You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave. Meet me in the desert at noon tomorrow.
Phew. I was really counting on him not going through with it.
Dia! That was crazy! Have you all lost your minds? What?
Then I just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you're out on a limb, you gotta double down to seal the deal, you know?
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Cyno. But this is about more than me and them. There's a lot. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there. Wipe...
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed put and listened.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your grandpa, so I'll do whatever...
Whatever it takes? You just might be scholar material.
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is...
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving. We should head back to the village and...